Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, 3 by 2 minute rounds, amateur rules in application in the super middleweight division. Introducing to you first, he'll be fighting out of the blue corner with the blue trunks, weighing in at 73.5 kilograms and standing 1.83 meters tall. With a record of no wins against a single loss and fighting out of Iron Tiger, Cape Town by way of Tripoli, Libya. Making his second appearance at Thaiholics Fight Promotions, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ahmed Alghariani.
Of light music.
And his opponent will be fighting out of the red corner with the red trunks, weighing in at 75.8 kilograms, standing 1.84 meters tall, and the record of 1 win and no losses, and fighting out a camp fight in Cape Town. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Luke Turner.
All right. Again, we have some faces here, some of them familiar to us, some of them less so. But another camp fighter in Luke Turner. They must have had a big camp this way around with 4 guys fighting out of their gym tonight.
Yeah, there was no MMA being focused upon for the last couple of weeks, I can promise you that. Luke Turner up against Ahmed Alghariani from Libya. Of course, the Libyan, he found himself in Cape Town following his dreams, trying to be a model. Of course, his name on his shirt being Pretty Boy. He's here, and he's deciding that a black eye looks better than a perfectly straight nose, and that's why he's a fighter. So he joined up at Iron Tiger, absolutely loved the vibe, loved the people there, and got involved in the sport. And of course, he got taken under the wing of Lamin Suya, who also trains out of Iron Tiger, one of the pros that has fought at TFP. So he's got a lot of experience to fall under. Obviously, Nido Gomba is at that gym. So both these gyms being featured in this particular fight, both of these guys would have either had a very hard or a very horrible training camp because of the absolute demons that they've been sparring, learning to get here.
Yeah, sure, and it's an old moniker, you know. Train hard, fight easy, although there's no such thing as an easy fight, which we've seen tonight. The guys are putting in the hard work at their gyms and also putting on a good show for us. It says that Ahmed was walking past the gym on his way to school and just saw the sign, went in to go train, and next thing you know, he's on our card. He fought up against Richard Hazelden, I think it was in TFP 2, and what a great fight that was. He's got quite a lot of styling. Luke Turner, I love the way that he found his gym. He's actually a medic, so he was working an event at Camp Fight, as a medic for a fight night and decided, well, let me throw myself in there and see what I can do. Does have a background in karate, trained in karate since he was 7 years old, so we might see a little bit of that styling coming out. But yeah, obviously with Coach Dave there, we'll have put on a little bit of tweaks and turned him into a Muay Thai fighter. We'll see how it goes now.
Of course, those who train Kyokushin karate usually highly accurate in their output, as opposed to Muay Thai, which is more like blunt force trauma. It's bludgeon, it keeps hitting the same spot if you can zero in, whereas karate is very specific, it's very pinpoint, and accuracy is of the highest order. So, you know, can you blend the two styles successfully and be able to have some kind of an identity where you can spot, okay, this guy's a karate guy fighting Muay Thai, or does it eventually it just gets absolutely mixed in with the broth and all you get is a Muay Thai fighter?
I think it's different for every fighter, but if you look at guys maybe like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who comes from a Taekwondo and karate background, but he also has like the ability to swing in those kicks the way that Muay Thai does with a baseball bat. So yeah, it's different for everyone, but it's up to the coach as well to try and tweak those things out, but also if it's something that works for you, to put it to your advantage. You know, if you're using front kicks and, you know, just quick jabs, that's something that you can use in Muay Thai too.
What I loved about the beginning of this fight is that there was no gap offered. They stood in front of each other and banged away, and it seems like we're going to have an absolutely pulsating fight coming down the stretch. Both of these guys are testing the ab work. Who's done their sit-ups?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Luke was actually putting his hand out there to maybe touch gloves, but when it wasn't received, he just put it forward and actually landed a jab, shot off the bat. But these guys are swinging at it, going hard. They're getting in the clinch. They're putting in the knees. Slip from a jumping kick there.
I can promise you, when you land on your backside that hard, this is not a sprung ring. This is not wrestling. You feel every single bit of that.
Yeah, for sure. But I think the adrenaline, you're so intent on your opponents. I'm loving the styling and the clinch that they're actually using their elbows. And that tells you something about what they're learning in the gym, right? Knee to the groin there.
Yeah, Alghariani is going to feel the backside tomorrow from that fall in the groin right now. What's the rule? 5 minutes if you want to take it?
Yeah, you've got 5 minutes for the referee to give you that time to recover. Most guys usually, you know, will jump around, try and get it out of the system and try and jump back in. The weird thing is when you're in there, the 30 seconds feels like you've been standing there for 5 minutes. So you just want to get on with the show. Meanwhile, you actually have a lot more time on your hands. But the guys just want to get back in it. Sometimes you see a bit of aggression coming out after that. Sometimes the guys just take a little bit light. They realize it was a mistake.
Back to the action, round number 1, 44 seconds remaining. Alghariani up against Luke Turner. Alghariani in the blue trunks, Turner in the red.
I think he got him again there. Wasn't too sure if Alghariani was busy spinning around or moving around there that he caught him. But he maybe just needs to lift his kicks a little bit and bend his knee just so that it doesn't go from the foot specific, that he's actually pointing the shin towards the opponent. Minor details.
He's not right at the moment. He's grimacing away as we go back to the action in round number 1.
Yeah, definitely not happy.
Good elbow over the top from Luke Turner.
I see Luke's also got those stabbing front kicks and a big right hand that he keeps putting on the side of Alghariani's face, frustrating him. A little bit of power coming into the fight. Landing. I think Alghariani needs to be careful there to keep his hands up. Catch in the sweep, half a trip, but still counts as a legal sweep. All right. First round in the bag. I'd say a lot more pressure coming from Luke there. Alghariani looks maybe a little bit shell-shocked, and that could also be to do with the fact that he's, you know, had 2 shots to the groin. Still, you can see on his face grimacing, not very happy with the way things are going at the moment.
So from a fight perspective, round number 1 in the can, who is going to be happier in terms of looking at the judges' scorecards right now, would you say?
This is what makes it a little bit tough in the Muay Thai. Like, you know, it depends what the judges are looking at. I think Luke was landing a lot more clean strikes from the outside, but if you had to look at the clinch work, Alghariani was doing some good work there, getting some good knees in, elbows over the top. He even did a little bit of a sanchai, jumping on top of his opponent and coming down with the elbows. There we see the clinch work, what I was talking about. You know, so it depends what the judges are looking at. Everyone's looking at different things. They see things from different angles. Sometimes you don't see landed shots when the fighter's body is in your way. And you see what I meant there was that Alghariani is spinning around when he misses a shot, and that's the second time that he got caught in the groin was from, you know, trying to evade, but then catching a shot from Luke.
The crowd is in store for a cracker. Round number 2 about to get underway, and they are making their presences felt. Wonderful crowd here at Grandwest Casino and Entertainment World. Cape Town is where we're at. TFP 4 full swing as the bell goes for round number 2.
Yeah, I think Alghariani maybe is a lot more used to using his reach, and Luke seems to be putting on a lot of pressure and sort of closing it down for him, and it's unsettling him. So we'll see if he's able to rally from that. But at least when he does get into a clinch position, he's using the opportunity to score.
Alghariani is now using that right leg of his effectively. He's finding the gap underneath the elbow. Again, he lands it with precision to the ribcage of Luke Turner.
I like it when Alghariani is moving backwards. He's actually landing shots on a defensive. It's not easy for fighters to do early on in their career, to fight with the back foot. But when you've got someone that's pressuring you, it's important to know how to do that. So, you know, the sooner the guys learn that they can strike off the back foot, you know, if you watch Luke, he's constantly coming forward. But that's fine, that's his style. It's more for Alghariani on the defensive, but to also be able to attack at the same time and not only come forward.
Alghariani definitely more successful when it's open and at distance. He seems to be a guy who likes to operate with a bit of daylight between the two. Not saying that his inside game is bad. All I'm saying is that he's got more space to operate that right leg.
Yeah, fighters all feature differently. Depends on, like, you know, the type of pressure that they're receiving. A lot of the guys are used to maybe being the aggressor. So as soon as they're in a situation where their opponent's the aggressor, it puts them off their game. But as I said, when he does move backward and realize that he can strike off the back foot, he's not doing too badly. Getting caught up against the ropes there by Luke, landing some big shots. I think in terms of ring dominance, if I was judging this, I would, you know, be looking at Luke, who keeps coming forward, landing shots, and they're pretty big ones. They're rocking Alghariani's head back. We're also looking at effective striking, right? So, like, we're looking at breaking posture, big strikes landing. He's turning away there, which means that, you know, he's not. I'd like to see maybe John jumping in on this turn and maybe telling him to turn and not to turn around so much. But at the same time, we're seeing these massive welts on Luke's body. So it means he's also eating shots, big kicks coming from Alghariani as he's moving backwards.
Great round number 2, possibly one of the best rounds so far that we've seen tonight in the action of TFP 4. Both these fighters are going to be feeling it, you know, at least temperature-wise, it's not too bad in here. It's not exactly a smokehouse in Bangkok. We got air conditioning, but, you know, those guys are going to be absolutely pouring. But looking at Alghariani, he looks pretty dry. It seems to be Luke Turner, the guy who is breathing heavier at this juncture of the break.
Yeah, and often that's got to do with who's putting on the pressure. You know, a lot of the times when you're moving backwards, you're actually able to save a lot of that energy. It's a little bit more of a bounce effect, but when you're coming forward, you're loading those shots, you're putting the power on, and that's quite draining on the muscles, especially in the shoulders. So look to see what Luke does with his hands now. If his hands are maybe going to be dropping a bit, it could be a chance for Alghariani to slide in some of those kicks, maybe go a little bit higher, use the elbows. But I mean, Luke's doing a great job here. He's putting Alghariani on the back foot, and that's unsettling him and really turning the fight in his favor, I'd say.
Here we go, round number 3. Alghariani up against Turner. It's been a fantastic contest so far. Round number 1 was more of a feeler. Round number 2, a lot more aggressive. What are we going to get in round number 3?
Again, big shots coming in. Almost putting Alghariani over the ropes here, against the ropes here. He almost came into our commentary box. Luke doing well in the clinch as well to find those knees. Alghariani more focused on the elbows. But when the arms are up, it's difficult to land those elbows, right? So you're only looking for clear spaces. You should be trying to throw those knees at the same time. Also helps to stop your opponent from coming and putting pressure on you.
The welt marks appearing thick and fast on Luke Turner's back. He's been hitting the ribs quite a few times by the right leg of Alghariani in the second round specifically, but he comes forward throwing bombs over the top with that right hand specifically, and then lands it again.
And again, this is where we have that Muay Thai styling, just throwing the punches, walking forward. It's a style that you often see in Thailand. You know, everyone knows that they're famous for their kicks, but you have a lot of guys with the powerful punches because they don't work the same sort of defense. They expect the kicks to come, but the punches are something that you can land. It's a completely different style. And it's definitely got to do with putting on the pressure, and often favored by shorter fighters who are looking for those big overhands and coming forward while they fight.
Yeah, both of these fighters are wearing 10-ounce gloves. The punches seem to be a lot labored. Okay, it's round number 3. It's been a taxing fight. There's not as much snap on those punches, but 10 ounces you're going to feel no matter how hard you get hit.
Yeah, especially if, there we have a big shot coming from Alghariani with the front kick, but he's also taking a lot of big punches. You can see how his head's actually rocking from each shot. Finding a few nice uppercuts there in between, but I think he's taken a lot of damage in this fight, actually.
And I feel like Alghariani's legs wobbled a little bit there more so from the damage he took than the fatigue he's feeling.
Yeah, last 10 seconds of the fight. Time to go for broke. Luke Turner is throwing that big overhand. He's been having success with that. Finding his target. The guys go right to the ball. A little stare down and a wink there. Big hug, hands in the air. Good to see from the guys, you know. There's a lot of aggression that can be going into these fights, but a lot of it, this is sport, guys. Like, we like to come into the ring and throw as hard as we can, but at the end of the day, it's all about respect. It's all about having fun out there, you know, being polite once the bell goes. Showing respect there. Luke binds the crowd, binds his fans. Big smile on his face, very happy. Alghariani also with his hand raised. I think he did a good job on the back foot. But I think if I was judging this, I would be, you know, favoring Luke with the forward pressure and lots of strikes landed. Again, a nice learning curve for Alghariani. We'll see what the judges say here. They hug in the middle. You guys can't see that on screen. But there's a lot of love here. Especially after throwing like this, heavy leather. I would like to see maybe a little bit more elbows on the forward there. But great work from both guys, especially considering this was Luke's debut and Alghariani's only his second fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give both these fighters a big round of applause. Bell-to-bell action is what we saw, and we go to the judges' scorecards. After 3 rounds of amateur Muay Thai action, your winner coming by way of unanimous decision victory. Fighting out of the red corner, Luke Turner.
Good work there from Luke Turner in his debut. Third fighter winning their debut tonight. Of course, most of these guys in the amateur section of the card making their debuts tonight. Great to see the guys being given a platform, the ability to showcase their talents here, all the hard work they're putting in the gym. And that's what we like to see. You know, it's great to have a platform for the pros and the pro-am guys to shine, but this is where it starts. It gets the guys coming out, putting on performances like this, showing good technique right from the outset, and they can only get better, right? It's just a little bit of work for them to do, grow in the sport, get more exposure, more fights under their belts, and maybe make their way up to the platforms where they're on the main card. Lots of forward pressure from Luke Turner, putting Alghariani's back up against the ring, against the ropes. I think that's where Alghariani maybe did his best, was stepping off the back foot and throwing his switch kick as Luke was coming in. I think a lot of the times maybe he got caught up in the brawl, and that's where we ended up in these clinches, and then maybe took some shots to the body where he could have been a bit more effective on the outside. One more fight on the undercard this evening before we go into interval. This time, again, under amateur rules, 3 by 2 minute rounds with a 1 minute rest.